Hey fucks, Mad Mike here for about 20 to 30 seconds because I'm gonna make a very different video for you guys today. So, at the time of this upload, it will be May, and May, as you know, is Mental Health Month, and I wanted to talk about something related to mental health. And also, since there is a new Unleash the Archers album coming out, I wanted to talk a little bit about them as well and sort of combine these two things that I wanted to talk about. So if you're a fan of my channel, or if you follow me on Instagram or Discord, even Facebook, you'll probably know that one of the biggest memes on this channel is my love for Unleash the Archers, right? Like, I post them in my server, I post them in Metal Trenches server, I post them in Meltdown server, and it always gets a ton of laughs. It always gets a ton of simp comments that I simp for them a little too much. And, it's not without reason. I mean, like, I do talk about them quite a bit, and I'm fully aware of how obnoxious it is to keep banging the drum for, like, five different bands and nothing else. Like, it's Unleash the Archers, Sumo Psycho, Lion's Daughter, Anal Cunt, Metallica, and I think that's it, really. But with Unleash the Archers, like, there's a very deep rooted love for that band that I have, and I really wanted to talk about it today and sort of relate it to the monthly thing that's going on, which is Mental Health Month, right? And the mental health portion of this video is going to be focused on, I don't know what the term is really, but loss of passion. That's what I'm going to talk about. Loss of passion. I mean, people call it, depression, but it's more of like a symptom of depression, really. And I want to talk about it because that's what I went through a long time ago. And Unleash the Archers were kind of the band that brought me out of that funk, so to say, and I'm going to explain why. So I've been a fan of metal for the better part of 20 years, right? Like, from my teenage years all the way into adulthood up until including now, I've been a fan of this music. And like many of you, I discovered it through Metallica, and then Iron Maiden, and Black Sabbath, and, so on and so forth, right? Judas Priest, Motorhead, you know the bands. And I was really, really into it, in my late teens, early 20s. Like, it was all I was about. And I got into so many bands. So many bands. Off the top of my head, I can say Opeth, Cannibal Corpse, Death, Deicide, Morbid Angel, of course, The Faceless, Skeleton Witch. So many huge and influential bands. That's just off the top of my head. But I was very into this music. Very into it. Very passionate about it. It was all I talked about. I don't want to say it was my whole personality, because it really wasn't. But, it was the thing that I loved the most out of everything. But sometime 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, I lost my passion for this music. I lost my love for it. I lost my will to want to listen to it. And the reason being is because I went through multiple horribly traumatic things during that time period, and for some reason my brain, my mind, just tied that trauma to the media I consumed, the entertainment I consumed in my life at the time. I just couldn't listen to, any of the music I loved. For a good 4 or 5 year period afterwards, I was diving into mostly classical, really, and old 60s surf songs. But my love for metal was just dead. in the saddest way possible. Like, I'd turn on, Maiden, I'd put on, Somewhere in Time, Power Slave, and I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't listen to it without it triggering something in my head. And I had to turn it off. It's like I just couldn't bring myself to love it again. Yeah, for a good 4 to 5 year period, the metal fan in me was dead. Flash forward to 2019, and I am in college. I am studying broadcasting, studying film, majoring in film, but I still had a radio show at the college at the time, and I was looking for new music to play. And in Canada, we have this rule. We have the CRTC in Canada. It's like the Canadian FCC for what you guys have in the US. And one of their rules is we need to play 35% Canadian content, right? And so I'm looking for modern Canadian rock, alternative, even metal bands. And I stumble upon Unleash the Archers. And they are a Canadian metal band out of Vancouver. And I decide, you know what, I'm going to put this on, The song that I put on my show was called The Matriarch. It was off of Apex. And for some reason, it just triggered something. And it wasn't a bad thing that it triggered. It triggered something good in my head. The guitars, the relentless drumming, Britney's soaring vocals in it, the intensity of the song, the feel of it, everything. Like, I just really like that song. And the song still to this day is very special to me. And then I started to check out more of their music, and I looked up their video for Awakening, which was absolutely phenomenal. What a song. And then I looked up Time Stands Still. That whole album. They had another track on that album called Dream Crusher. And there's a part midway through that song where it breaks completely down, and all you hear is the bass, that do 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 do. And I swear to God, it just triggered something, and triggered another thing in my brain that I just couldn't really figure out at the time. But it was starting to remind me of a lot of music that I loved before I went through the traumatic stuff, right? And I started to remember, oh my God, this reminds me of Maiden. This reminds me of Halloween, the Keeper albums. This reminds me of so much good music. And like, it was a rabbit hole that I fell down. And then that was the time I started to look up a lot of modern metal and started to look back at a lot of music that I really liked at the time. Before I went through the trauma of 10 years ago. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to say what it is at all, because, well, one, it was multiple things. Two, they were all fucking embarrassing. Like, it should not have affected me that much, those things. But, mental health, very weak. Mental health. Be sure to get help, guys. It's Mental Health Month, so go get help. But anyways, the important thing is listening to them at the time started to trigger a lot of good memories and a lot of happy memories in my mind. And I started to finally go back to the music I loved and, to the music I really enjoyed, which was metal. And I, look back at a lot of Metallica that I loved. I look back at a lot of Opeth that I loved. I remember, like, listening to re-listening to Scenes from a Memory, that Dream Theater album, and then Still Life by Opeth back to back. And it was like I was listening to them for the first time again. And it was just a really beautiful thing to be starting to rediscover this passion. As time goes on and then COVID hits, I start to, get into more and more metal. And, I started discovering a lot of more modern metal bands, like Ginger was one. Inculter was another one. A really, really cool, modern thrash band. You guys should check them out. And it's like I was reawakened again. And of course, the timing could not have been more perfect, because I was looking for something to do during COVID, and I was rediscovering all this great music that I blocked out of my head because I just couldn't bring myself to love it again. But I was at the time, and there was just so much that I was revisiting and everything. And then I put on Altars of Madness again. And then it's like I just got reminded that, this was you. This is who you are. You are a fan of this music, and this was your favorite album of all time at the time. And I had just started a YouTube channel at the time, and I reviewed Terminator 3. It was a fucking garbage review, and I was looking for something else to do. And then, like, why not make a video on this? If you guys watch that video, you're going to see, some shots of the album in the background, going through space, but it's getting closer and closer and closer. And the Mad Mike avatar, is sitting right at the bottom there. And the album is getting closer and closer to the avatar. And eventually the avatar becomes one with the album at the end. That was a visual metaphor for what I was going through at the time. The point I was trying to get across with it was I'm one with the music I love again. Coincidentally, Abyss, at this time, their most recent album, Phantoma, is probably coming out in like a couple days after this upload. I got the vinyl right behind me there, right next to Buddy and Wario. And, I listened to that album and I fell in love with it. Like, it was just such a powerful album with such a powerful story being told. It was like the metalhead in me was just reborn. And I started to fall in love with this music again. And, it was important to me. I know this sounds way bigger than it should be. It's just music, right? And it's just a genre of music, right? But me falling in love with the music again, it was like I can... It was like my mind telling me that, okay, you're healing. Finally. Like, it just meant a lot to me at the time. And, the reason why I recommend Unleash the Archers to a lot of you and why it's such a meme is because, yes, I do love their music. There is a lot of great things going on there. The twin guitar attack between Andrew Kingsley and Grant Truesdell is just, it's the modern day KK and Tipton, right? I really like Scott's drumming. Brittany slays on vocals. She's just one of the best vocalists in modern metal, possibly in all of the history of metal, really. And, you know, when it all comes together, it's just so special. And, you know, I'm hearing some of their new tracks. Really digging it. Really liked Ghosts in the Mist. Really liked Green and Glass. And, you know, hopefully Phantoma. I'm not expecting it to top Abyss and Apex, but if it can just be like, a solid 8 out of 10, that's still pretty damn good. That's still a pretty damn good run of albums from Time Stands Still onwards, right? But the main point I'm trying to make here is the reason that I do talk about them a lot. The main reason is because they make good music, okay? But maybe another reason why I talk about them so much is because they helped me become me again. But, Unleash the Archers, Scott, Nick, Grant, Andrew, Brittany, if any of you watch this, I just want to say, from Mad Mike to you, thank you so much for helping me become a metalhead again. Become a fan of music again, really become myself again. You probably don't think you have that much of an impact on people's lives with what you do, but you do, okay? So now I'm going to move the conversation over to all of you watching. So were you ever a passionate fan of metal but lost that passion and then regained it? And what did you do to regain it? And it doesn't even have to be metal either. Like, it doesn't even have to be music, to be honest. Like, were you ever passionate about something, lose that passion, and then regain it? And what happened to you to make you lose that passion? And what happened to you? What did you do to help you regain it? That's what I want you guys to discuss in the comments. So yeah, that's this video. Bit of a trauma dump, I know, but hey, it's Mental Health Month. For everyone out there, I hope you're all doing very well in here. And if you're not, please get help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I asked for help at one point. It was the best decision I ever made. So hopefully all of you can do the same too. So happy Mental Health Month. Happy new Unleash the Archers album month. I love this band to death, but there was a very deep reason as to why I did. That's it for this video. Bye, fucks.